Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPad Pro first generation and see how this particular iPad holds up in 2025. Now, the biggest thing I can definitely tell you is that number one, if you're going to go through and pick up an iPad, there are a few things to kind of keep in mind here when you're going to go through and pick up one of these types of devices. So we'll take a look at this throughout this whole entire video. First things first, so if you do want to go ahead and pick up any sort of iPad that I would recommend buying this year, links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of ththese particular iPads. The biggest thing to keep in mind here was that these iPads actually came out in two different sizes. So you were either getting that like massive 12.9 inch or 13 inch model, and then a smaller 9.7 inch model. The model that I actually ended up having was that 9.7 inch model, and I did actually enjoy it. I still kind of use it sometimes, mostly to like monitor security and stuff like that, just like having my security cameras up. And it is actually like a really nice thing to basically have as like a side device. And this was a really good approach by Apple, because this was the first time where I think they made like two different sets of, device panels for the same device. Since then, they kind of didn't do that for a while until they brought over back the bigger size models. And I thought that was a really good approach. Just like how they've done with MacBooks, just like how they've done with iMacs. I felt like they should have always done this with iPads, even more so than just the iPad Pros. Now they do it for the iPad Airs and they do it for the MacBook Airs as well. It's a really nice thing. It just gives you more screen real estate and it lets you choose whichever one you want. And I think it started with these ones for the iPads. Now with this one on the front, you're getting that 9.7 inch IPS LCD panel. This panel itself, it's not terrible, but you have to remember this phone or this iPad came out in 2016. So it's about 9 years old now. So this thing is definitely showing its age when it comes down to that standpoint. So I think this is one of those big things to kind of keep in mind there. If you're going to go through and pick up a phone, but you're going to have to look at something like an iPad, 9.7 inch model, this iPad Pro, and really think to yourself that this one might be the better one here for the most part in some ways. And I know I keep saying phone, but I keep meaning iPad. On the other side of this iPad, you're also getting your Touch ID sensor. So you're still going through and getting some sort of fingerprint sensor inside of this thing, which some people may actually like. And you are going to be getting that here inside of this device too, which could be another really cool thing to kind of keep in mind here within this device. On the bottom, you're getting a lightning port here and you're getting a headphone jack. So this was always something very interesting here as well, because again, they kept lightning, they kept headphone jacks, all that stuff. This was the same year that I believe the iPhone 7s ended up coming out. So if you took a look at something like an iPhone 7 and you take a look at these devices, you're probably going to be seeing that there's a lot of overlap here because they kind of look the same. And even though Apple went through and removed the headphone jack on the iPhones, they still kept the headphone jacks on the iPads for a long period of time. On the backside, you're getting just your Apple logo. No big anything crazy on this particular iPad for the most part. You are getting your camera setup on the top left corner as well, which is always something really nice to have here. Now with the iPads, there were some models that had the nano SIM and eSIM technology, I guess. I'm not just now reading that. And you had your Apple Pencil support inside of this iPad as well. So you did have some capability there, which was really nice. So I think that is one of those big things to keep in mind here, because you were able to go through, pick up one of these types of iPads, and you were able to get that type of experience. But there's a few things that this iPad is missing out on that a lot of iPads have nowadays. Number one, you are missing out on Apple Pencil USB Type-C support, no Apple Pencil 2 support, no Apple Pencil Pro support, so keep those things in mind. No USB Type-C either. That could be another really big downside depending on who you are, but you are going to be missing out on that inside of this type of device, which could be kind of an annoying thing for some people as well. On top of that, another very big thing is no high refresh rate. Yes, we still have, IPS panels kind of technically on our newest iPads, but these ones, aren't giving you a high refresh rate, which could be kind of an annoying thing. That's not going to be the biggest deal in the world, but that could just be one other thing you're going to have to keep in mind there inside of your head as well. Now, when it comes down to the camera, this camera is not anything super crazy. It's a pretty basic type of experience for the most part. This thing was giving you a single 12 megapixel camera on the front side, and it's giving you a 5 megapixel standard camera on the front side. So the back is the 12 megapixel one, the front side is the 5 megapixel one. And the thing here, right, if you're going to go through and pick up one of these types of devices, the thing that I do like about this type of phone is that it does look pretty decent, right? It still gives you like a pretty good experience for the most part. If you are going to go through and pick up a device, I do like the way that this particular device does kind of look like, right? Like the cameras itself looks pretty good, but you only get 4K at 30 on the back and 1080p at 30 on the front side. I personally do feel like, once again, Apple could have probably done, actually 2016, this is pretty decent, but in today's standards, it's a little bit of a different story. This isn't really one of those devices that I would recommend people to buy anymore, especially from a camera standpoint, especially if you need a better camera. And this thing is probably going to be showing its age from that particular standpoint when it comes down to it from that standpoint as well. So that right there, that's one of those other big things to keep in mind there as well. Now, on top of that, another really big thing to keep in mind here too is the fact that within this particular iPad, you're also going to be getting an iPad that's, it was supported with software up until iPadOS 16. Now, it's not really getting any more software updates. So once again, I would kind of hate for you to go through and buy this type of iPad if it's already outdated with software. And that is kind of what's going on here, right? Like if you're going to go through and pick up one of these types of iPads, I don't really think it would make the most amount of sense to go through and buy it, mostly because this device is already kind of showing its age here for the most part. So the performance is already kind of getting a little bit less. The battery life has only gotten worse and worse, and the stability is only getting worse and worse too because it's no longer getting any more software updates. So that is going to be another one of those problems that you might run into as well. So personally for me, I feel like if you are going to go through and pick up an iPad, that is kind of one of those big key takeaways here and big things to keep in mind here within this iPad when it comes down to it. And then when it comes down to the performance, this iPad is going to be giving you its Apple A9X chip inside of it with 2 gigabytes of RAM. So this in and of itself is also going to be one of those big things to keep in mind here too. Like if you're going to go through and pick up an iPad, well, the performance of this iPad really isn't terrible. Like you're still probably going to be getting like a decent type of experience, right? Like it's not going to be terrible. It's not going to be the worst, performing thing of all time. But if you're wanting a better type of experience here, there are better iPads you can buy that might cost a little bit more money, but they're definitely going to be giving you a better experience. And I think that is kind of one of those big key takeaway areas here. Because like I said, if you're wanting the more expensive, the better one, well, you're going to have to look at something like a iPad Pro, 3rd generation, or like one of those ones that'll be giving you an overall better experience. Because this one is already outdated. It's already a little bit older. It may not make the most amount of sense to go through and buy one of these types of iPads. So, in my personal opinion, I think there could be a case to be made where in some situations, this type of iPad could be a pretty decent one. But at the same time, I really do feel like there might be better options out there for you to go and buy rather than this one. I think an iPad Air 4 or an iPad Air 5 would be really, really good iPads to buy. I think those ones would be really good. I think an iPad, even a 10th generation iPad, would still be a really big upgrade coming from this iPad. And those ones aren't super expensive. They're older now, they're used. So you can go and buy those things in the used market or certified refurbished market and get some really good prices inside of that device too when it comes down to it. So in my personal opinion, that's kind of how I see this particular device holding up from that particular situation. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that will mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.